Thank you very much. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody, and I hope you spend a good quality time with us. Thank you for staying awake and being alive, because I know it's a tough subject. I think I'm going to be a little easy on you, because I just want to share with you how we tried to transform the architecture profession in Germany from non-BIM towards BIM, and we're not there yet, of course. But it started with a lot of uncertainty. What is BIM? Everybody was talking about what is it? Is it a process? Is it a product? Is it a BIM model? Is it a new way of working? Is it a change in paradigms? Everything's changing. Half of the architects said, absolutely, you need to rethink your whole profession. The other half said, not at all. It's just a tool, and we need to implement it. So that discussion is still underway. We have a definition on BIM, which was actually developed within the BAK, and is now the governmental definition of BIM. You find it there on the slide. And it shows that it's a little bit about everything. It's a process and a product and a tool and all that. You have to work with it anyway. We then saw that the government pushed forward, and as Adam said, and I'm very thankful for the EU BIM Task Group and Ilka May, who's working on it as well, who's a great contributor. And please read the handbook he showed you. It's very important, because our member from the governmental side in this EU BIM Task Group is the the Ministry for Transport and Traffic and Digitization, not the Construction Ministry. And that is basically the biggest problem we have actually in Germany, and you might have the same. BIM in Germany was pushed by the construction industry to get out the architects, and that is still the way. It's still our biggest problem, that the big construction company tries to convince the client, when you use BIM, do it all with us. We have all the digital data in our company. It's one company. We have a little design from an architect who does the first phases, and then the rest we do ourselves. And you don't have to deal with all these small offices, because we have a lot of small offices. And that created a total aversion against BIM with architectural offices, of course, because they say, well, if that is the case, that BIM leads to a concentration of the planning process within the construction companies, then we don't want it. So we had to change that around, and we did that with a lot of talking. The first thing we needed was commitment of the profession. We needed to get away from, leave me alone with BIM, it will go away if I don't participate, because we also said you can try that with the internet or with your smartphones. If you don't use them, they won't go away. They're still there and they will develop. So from this first objection to the whole subject, we turned around and had a real strong commitment. This is our General Assembly. This is not voting on BIM. This is a vote on something. But just to illustrate that now the whole chamber, and once the chamber is on board, all 130,000 architects in Germany are represented to be on board. There's a strong commitment now to deal with the process and to put the architect in the leading chair in this process. That's the thing. It should not be the construction industry, it's the architect who should be at the center of BIM, of course. And that commitment, that's the first stage that needs to be taken. Then we created a huge network, of course, that partly was already there. You see our ministries here on the right-hand side from my side. Of course, you see the standardization organizations. We try to put people in all the CEN and ISO and the German National Standardization Committees. There are a lot of organizations dealing with BIM. And in the middle, we created in our office of the chamber a new department only dealing with digitalization, which is only 1.5 person, one part-time person, one full-time person. But at least there are people working only on digitalization. And of course, it's much more about BIM. It's about 3D printing and self-driving cars and robotic and everything, which is included, of course. But that was the next step. After the commitment, we took the organizational measures to deal with this full amount of information that needs to be handled and all these people who are interested and pushing their different interests in BIM so that we have an overview, which is super important. Then we gave some orientation by publishing our first book, which is called 100 Questions, 100 Answers on BIM. And it deals with everything. What is BIM? How much does it cost? Where do I get it? Which kind of software? What is open BIM? What is closed BIM? What is IFC? The intellectual property, liability, contracts, and everything. It's a small booklet, and it was very successful because it answered just these general questions when everybody was talking about BIM. I mean, probably you all remember the first meetings about BIM was a room full of people, and everybody was talking about BIM. And then somebody asked, well, who actually worked with BIM? Nobody. Nobody in the room had worked with BIM, but they all knew what to do with it. So now we try to give a little orientation with this book, and now we have a second book which gives more guidance and goes more into depth with the contract, the remuneration, how to protect intellectual property and all of that. So that gives more substance now on how to deal with BIM. And the next thing, and that's, thank you, Annette, for saying that CPD was so important, because we have the same problem, and we now established we call it the German standard for BIM, the German for CPD standard of all the 16 chambers. You know that the federal states in Germany, the 16 states, have all their academies. So we have now a common standard to educate BIM, of course, based on Building Smart. Basic courses, the 3-day program started 2 weeks ago in Hessen, in the state of Hessen. Is going to be in Bavaria then, in other states. So it's going to tour all of Germany with a Building Smart curriculum for 3 days. And the BIM professional course, which is a more in-depth course, is following afterwards, so that everybody will have the knowledge. But at the same time, and that's very important, I find, for your organizations, it also documents that the architects are the one who are dealing with BIM first and foremost, and then the rest of the value chain is coming, and not the other way around. And it really needs to take a big stance to document that, actually to say a little more maybe than you do at the moment, but you need to present it as the topic of the architects, and don't let yourself be pushed by others, because then you will be pushed out in the end. I mean, Germans are not much known for their creativity and their courage. I agree. We always implement things only after we know it's proven. Only if we see, did it work? And there was all this discussions. Is there a building that was ever built in BIM that was successful? And who said there was a 30% better rate or anything? This is not proven, so we don't do it. Here, I think we take more the American model, or other countries for sure, the Baltic states who are absolutely foremost there, and the Nordic states, to say, let's try it. Just do it, let's try it, it will work out, and whatever is not going well, it will go well. So here you need to take a leap of faith, I guess, and just try it out, because otherwise other people already will occupy this market. So that is very important as well. And at the end, of course, there should be pilot projects. The government is actually doing the new embassy in Austria, the German embassy in Vienna, which is going to be a pilot project for BIM, so that the government can document, yes, it is working, and these are the challenges, and these are the opportunities. So that is also a great addition to everything. Thank you very much.